Airsoft community, this is Reaper from Maine Airsoft to bring you another player profile update as well as an op announcement. It may be short notice, but I wanted to start off with the op announcement for Operation Vigilante coming up September 30th. It's a huge collaboration fundraiser for the Wounded Warriors Project. All the field fees for the day as well as any after donations are going straight to them. So we'd love to have you out there and show your support for our troops as well as our veterans. The op starts at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's at Millstream Airsoft Field, home of the Spartan Assault, as well as Ghost Team. So if you can come out, that would be more appreciated, not just for the field and participation in the community, but also for your veterans and to show your loyal support for everything that they've given us. Now that that stuff's out of the way, and that's more of the important stuff, I was urged to make this video not only for the op, but as to show improvements to my gear and the changes I made and why I've done them. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is, just like in the other video, my leg rig and work my way up. I have a triple mag pouch capacity drop leg, as well as the same Fire Dragon drop leg holster on my right thigh for my sim knife as well as my KP45. Now the reason I still run a leg rig is I was starting to think about changing it up, especially about the last stop I went to. And what ended up happening was, just as I explained in the other video, there was a task force unit charging at my unit, and in the war of attrition, it came into all perspective because he only had a chest plate carrier rigger with forward mags. I had my same vest with only one mag capacity on my chest, as well as my leg drop leg. Now, because we were both going head to head, it turned out that we both needed to reload at the same time for the same opportunity shot. Now, it's not like the OK Corral every time you're going to go out and play, but this was definitely an instance of that, where it was because I only had to go down and pull up and not expose any more of myself, where when he pushed up to reload, he exposed more of his chest, and as soon as I had the mag popped, he was still pushed up. So I still got the good shot. Now, it's not like that's an everyday occurrence, like I said, but that's just a familiar instance for me where I actually got to use the practicality and have an experience to show that my equipment works for me and it works in certain instances. The reason I attach my sim knife into the molly weave of my right thigh is so that way when I go to draw my pistol, I can also grab my knife at the exact same time. And when I get into the fighting stance, I can actually swap my knife back and forth depending on what side I'm on. Now I'm a left-hand dominant shooter, so pulling my pistol is not a very common occurrence. If I'm pulling my pistol, it's in a case of emergency where my rifle is either malfunctioning or I don't have any other option because of the close quarters. I actually did replace my entire chest rig. Now the reason I did that was I was influenced heavily by my team as well as Airsoft GI to stop being behind the times and actually get some molly. So I spent time, I did my research, and I actually came up with getting a G. James custom compact plate carrier. As you can see here, it's in black, and I fell in love with it as soon as I got it. I opened it up and it was like Christmas. It has integrated admin pouch behind my team patch here, as well as integrated 3 mags. And the first thing I did as soon as it came out of the box, besides jumping up and down like a schoolgirl, was to make sure that it held not only my high stack M16 mags, but also AK mags. Now you might be wondering, because I run an M16 platform, why would I need AK mags? And as I explained in the last video, it came into real perspective that I'm a reconnaissance soldier, so I gotta focus more on having all the equipment I need for the mission at hand. Usually my mission entails that I'm running with a medic, and my medic on our team runs an AK. Now, that may be a controversy of ideals because it would be easier for me to throw her an M4 mag. But it's the same simplicity that all I have to do is just reach in my vest, throw her an AK mag, and she's all set. So that's the reason I sort of run versatility now over what I used to wear. As you could tell, the other one was very high collared. It kept you very conformed around the neck. It was a very nice look if you were looking for kind of that heavyweight soldier, more of your SWAT and your tactical essence. But it was just ineffective. With only one mag capacity, four little pockets, and one overdrive pocket that would swallow an AK mag. It wasn't really designed for someone running an AR and a heavy caliber pistol platforms. So that's why I decided to go with that. There's also Molly real estate right in the front, which is also nice if I want to start running more pistol mags or speed loaders or anything else that I need to get on my vest for different occurring missions, especially if we're going into a mission where there's smokes or flashbangs required. So as I said up front, I've got my patch. In here I've got your basic rig pouch, more of your dead rags, zip ties, screwdriver, any little tools, little bits that you need to put in. I forgot to mention what it's all still attached to. As in the previous video, I'm still running an under vest rig, and that's my LVV setup. And my LVV setup runs to both my legs, as well as gives me the fanny pack on my back. Now, the Western wear pack, got it for $20. Like I said in the last video, you cannot go wrong with it. You'll see actually Task Force actually start running more of these packs. Started doing some research on other teams, especially up here in the New England area, and a lot of them actually do run packs like this because it's so versatile and it's so low profile to your back, as well as gives you a little bit of support for your lower back. So in here, I got my 2.5s, spare batteries for my radio, and another hit rack. As you can see here on my back, I've got my name stenciled already, as well as have my radio pouch right on my back. Now, it's a hardtack container for my radio that actually came with a fire dragon. So it was actually a really nice deal that I actually got something molly with my holster that I could actually use for versatility up on my back. From there, I run the cords through the stretch fabric on the shoulders for my push-to-talk, as well as my Secret Service style earpiece. Still all the same setup for all the same reasons. As you can see here, these are my ESS, which you really can't go wrong. I got them for a sweet deal. Best eye protection I can offer, especially with the black tinted lenses if you're going for a darker sort of concept. And that's basically my rig. My magazines are G&G Armament and a mix of KWA mags. So my ammo varies between 79 rounds and approximately 130 rounds. I did away with the high caps. I finally became more of your hardtack Milsim player, even though I've been playing at more of the lenient fields. I thought it would be better just to get into it and save myself the time now. But that's basically my rig. It's all contained via Velcro right to the undercarriage, which also contains the SAPI plates. Now, I'm going to go on about a bit of a mod that I made. Was out of the old vest, it had a hard tag back, which was really nice. I really liked having that support on my back, especially if I fell on something, that it was a lot more protective than just the small fabric that it was made of. So I took the back padding out of the other vest and it was more of like a servo pad kind of material. So I cut it to the form of SAFU plates, and I actually put it in. So I actually do have a good half inch of plate like material in my vest to give me more of the structure to my front and back, as well as give me a little bit of protection. So there's no variance of protection. As soon as I put on the vest, though, I snapped the styrofoam and the cardboard plates that they had put in them. So I do suggest getting your own sort of material to put inside if you do like having that kind of front and back structure. The other reason I chose this vest, besides its looks and its functionality over my other vest, was I'm in the market for a very low profile vest that's high functional. Now, it's very high functional, as we can all tell. But the other thing is, it has to sit up. These other task force units, as well as active military units, are starting to move towards upper body type of apparel because it's easier when you're in the fighting stance that it's already to your chest, more around your heart and your lung region, rather than down around your stomach. As you can see here, if my belt was actually on, I have a full hand width between the belt and the where the mags actually start to sit. Now, that can be a very important factor, because when you have a mag there, as the first thing, when you try and bend over, you're not only facing the resistance of your own core muscles, you are now facing the resistance of the stiff metal mag when you're trying to bend over, climb a rope, or propel, or any other sort of general function after you've been running God knows what distance and you've built up folic acid in your stomach. So, especially where there's no cover bun, it allows me a lot of free movement, especially around my core, which is a very nice idea to start building on. Now, that may not be for everybody. A lot of people do have good core muscles to be carrying so much weight, but because it sits so high up, there's not a lot of weight that's being dispersed around my core. Although you would argue that my core is where a lot of the weight should be in order to keep equilibrium balance, having it up on my chest felt a lot more natural to me. So it's more on the player idea and what the player preference is. But for me, this was a great fit and it worked out great that it's just going to sit right up on my chest, give me everything I need, be very low profile, and not be uncumbersome, but still be very tactical and still look very professional. As you can see here, I've got my MARP hats, which we're starting to transition to as the active uniform. Operation Vigilante will be conducted with a green versus black and tan side. Black and tans will be considered cartel soldiers, where green will be more of the vigilantes and the freedom fighters, so to say. The background on the op is that cartel soldiers have taken control of an entire city. And because they have taken control of the entire city, the populace live in fear of being attacked, extorted, murdered, or even sold into slavery back in other Colombian states. One man has actually stood up to them, only known by the ace of spades he left on the cartel son's body. So it's there that the story starts, that there are soldiers and freedom fighters fighting for dominance and their own freedom, as well as business, in this small American town. Now, Ghost Team is going to play a very subdued role, and although we are going to be in blacks, we will be operating as vigilantes, which is a great honor as specific role players. This way, we'll be able to interact and show a development of the characters that we've had to create as of last week and weeks before leading up to the event to show basically a superhero versus supervillain op, where these role players will develop their character through gameplay, and that's the way the points are given is by snapshots and video recordings of selective scenes while the characters develop themselves, take objectives, and the story progresses to the ultimate ending. Now, that's not to say that the story is ultimately decided by the story writers, but it's been left very open-ended based on what occurrences happen and what occurrences don't happen for either team. So player development for many members via either high-profile cartel soldiers or even the vigilantes themselves can develop over time, which is a very innovative way to include if someone is more apt at writing story versus actually just being a task force soldier style player. So if you have any questions about my new updated loadout or the op coming up, feel free to contact me on Facebook, YouTube, whatever you need to get a message across. Also, if you're also looking to join the op, I'll post a link to the Spartan Forums. The Spartan Forums is where you can sign up and interact with the owners of the Millstream Airsoft Field, as well as get to know a bunch of great guys. So, this is Reaper RJ signing off for Main Airsoft, and I hope you enjoyed this player profile update as well as the op introduction.